Many restaurants are struggling to deal with COVID-19. We'll show you how some are now being forced to close.
Dozens of refrigerators have begun to pop up on the streets of Los Angeles, how some are helping to feed others during the pandemic.
LA foodies can rejoice. We'll look at how LA residents can enjoy delicacies from niche food stores.
Students, restaurants, and delivery people are struggling to stay safe during COVID-19. Reporting from LA, I'm Brett Chody.
Also reporting from LA, I'm Leanna Falk. USC's Dr. Sarah Van Orman has some positive news about the virus.
We're really pleased to see that, the cases have really been declining over the last 2 weeks among what we're seeing in terms of both the number of students we're identifying with COVID-19, as well as, we're continuing the surveillance testing. We're going to keep pushing on influenza vaccine to try to make sure to get everybody vaccinated by November 1st. We're starting to see some really positive movement in that direction.
Last week, USC averaged about 350 students in isolation and 300 in quarantine. These numbers are down from the previous week where they were averaging around 400 students.
During the pandemic, many of us had to change the way we got our food. Ordering takeout, having food delivered, and going to restaurants all have risks. The CDC recommends these options. The safest is to stay home if you can and use contactless delivery. If eating at a restaurant, wear a face covering, distance from others, and wash or sanitize your hands before and after you eat. Sharing food is not advised.
Since the start of the pandemic, Americans have relied on services like Instacart and DoorDash to get their food and groceries delivered. We spoke to 2 delivery drivers about the job and the risks involved.
I'm sure more people are ordering food through mobile delivery. Restaurants and shops have been really good about streamlining their pickup services, especially because they know that they need DoorDash and services like that for business. DoorDash not requiring you to knock on their door or ring a doorbell and deliver it to the person. I think all of these things have helped alleviate the concerns about in-person contact.
If I didn't feel safe, I definitely wouldn't do it. And I make sure that I'm following the recommended protocol. I put on gloves before I enter the store, as well as a mask, and hand sanitize after I'm done shopping.
Delivery orders soared 67% in March when coronavirus lockdowns began. DoorDash has thrived, receiving 45% of third-party delivery orders ahead of rivals Uber Eats and Grubhub. The company is now valued at $16 billion.
For many USC students, food delivery comes at too high of a cost. With the added issues of the pandemic, getting enough to eat every day can be a struggle. USC Food Support Services says it has free and confidential resources to help.
So we've definitely seen a rise in need, especially since the beginning of the school year. We've gotten a lot more requests than we have in the past years. I think the most important part is we're still able to offer our services, and that is something that we were doing even in the midst of the pandemic. We were following those guidelines way before, just because it was a limited amount of people touching the food, and it goes directly into a hamper, and there's no direct contact there. So I think that has made for a really easy transition into this situation.
USC students struggling with not enough to eat have many resources for food, both on and off campus. In addition to food support services, there's the Trojan Food Pantry, the United University Church, Fight On Against Homelessness and Hunger, and the Free at USC Facebook page.
Dozens of refrigerators are being plugged in and stocked up by people wanting to share food with families in need. We caught up with the host of the Mid-City Community Fridge and one of its donors who told us why these communal pantries are needed now more than ever.
People just started stocking it with food and different other things every day. They love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. They support it. They send people. I mean, they love it. People are without. You got people that's just, they're without for many different reasons. So it's very important that someone lends a hand because you just don't know.
Because of the pandemic, some of the food items were going at a really high price, unbelievable prices actually. We knew that we weren't going to eat them. So instead of throwing them away, we'd rather just give them out to people who need them. If you have, it's better to give than to receive.
Unlike most traditional forms of food aid, these refrigerators require zero paperwork, and there's no limit to how much or how little you can take. Just walk up to one of the dozen fridge locations across LA County, take what you need, and leave what you don't.
Another restaurant is closing due to the coronavirus pandemic.
This time, it's Beverly Soon Tofu in Koreatown. It was a family affair run by Monica Lee and her daughters. Fans of the restaurant are crushed.
So I'm definitely really sad to see Beverly Hills Soon Tofu close. Like, it was one of my favorite spots to go to, especially in sophomore year. I used to go like pretty often, and like I liked it a lot more than BCD. So it was really good quality food, and I'm definitely really sad to see it go.
It was definitely sad news. I feel like they're not like the greatest food to eat takeout. It's really hard to replicate that experience when you take it home with you after like 20 minutes and then you eat it.
My teammates and I are planning to go and go there one last time before it closes, just to, remember it in its best way.
A spokesperson for Beverly Soon Tofu said, quote, "We have been reaching maximum capacity since the announcement we are closing. We are focused on ensuring our last days are spent providing the best food to our customers."
Fans of the iconic childhood staple, peanut butter and jelly, are thrilled at the reopening of PBJLA in Grand Central Market. The downtown food hall has been a haven for foodies for more than a century, serving up unique dishes to both locals and tourists alike. The pandemic closed the market stores for 90 long days, but they're open once again with new safety regulations. In Grand Central, vendors say they're more than just a booth. They're family. PBJLA owner Pavon Salahay says being a part of the marketplace has eased their financial burden and allowed them to keep serving their Insta-worthy take on an old favorite.
Just knowing you're not alone and that, everybody's holding each other accountable and, you're under this umbrella of protection where, Grand Central Market is the entity and you're one of the vendors in it. I believe there are 52 vendors in Grand Central Market and only 7 were open for takeout or delivery through different apps. Either way, it's still the sales were so low that it really we might as well have closed. So thankfully Grand Central Market worked with us and worked with all the vendors, and they helped us survive by being really lenient about rent and stuff like that. We're resilient, so we're gonna survive this. We're all gonna be okay. So it's just about being smart and hanging in there until things kind of even out.
And that's good news for ththose of us who love PB&J-LA, like me. Now, I'm going to go enjoy my sandwich. And while I do, Genevieve Glass is a story of one LA caterer who during the pandemic started teaching cooking classes over Zoom.
Before the pandemic, Marcella Schneiderman's business revolved around sharing food boards, a taboo concept these days.
When the pandemic hit, I was in shock. I had a 200-person wedding booked. I had 3 workshops booked and a big party of like 50 people where we build boards together, and literally overnight, canceled. I felt defeated, I was grieving a business.
After a few weeks of feeling down, Schneiderman took matters into her own hands.
So I had no business, and then I was stuck in my house, and all I really know how to do is cook. And we weren't going out to eat, so I just started cooking. And now I had time, which was the key. We were all staying at home. We had so much time where I dove back into it. And I was reading about food again. I was learning about food again. And then I was creating.
She tracked her progress on Instagram, posting every meal to her page. And each day she was inundated with messages from her followers. So much so that she created a free newsletter with recipes and explanations.
Everyone else was home and everyone else was cooking. And I would get DMs that were like, what's this recipe? How do I do this? And then I started writing. And so I got to teach people from my mistakes. I had no clue I was a writer until the pandemic started. And then the Zoom classes came because people want more. They want hands-on. They have lots of questions. They're 100% safe. You don't have to go anywhere. They're convenient. I think it's a great option for everyone.
And with the Jewish holidays coming up, Schneiderman says baking challah is her most requested Zoom class. And just like the bread, her students are rising to the occasion.
I'm Jewish, so grew up eating a lot of challah, but definitely never really went through all the actual steps required to make a homemade challah. Really wanted to jump in, not just to make a challah, but also like there's nothing to do right now, so it's nice to do anything that's like interactive.
While Schneiderman misses in-person interaction, she's thankful the pandemic has broadened her approach to her cooking business.
And it was the biggest blessing because my business was so niche. I was such a specific thing that I forgot about all of the other elements that brought me to it.
And finding a blessing during these trying times is something we all can hope for. For Annenberg Media, I'm Genevieve Glass.
If you're looking to save at the grocery store, there are applications like Basket that can help.
App users can filter their list by selecting grocery stores near them. Users can also select any items they want to buy.
They can also have a personalized basket the next time they shop. That app sounds really, really cool. I'm definitely gonna get on that because with COVID and everything, using apps is the only way that I feel comfortable doing my grocery shopping.
Yeah, and since you can save money as a college student, you can never save too much money. I will definitely be utilizing that.
Agreed. Well, that wraps us up for this Thursday. Thanks for tuning in.
From all of us at Annenberg TV News, have a good night.